So we know by now that when Joe Biden gives us a warning, or when Joe Biden tweets the day before CPI, that we're going to get a good CPI. And that's exactly what actually happened yesterday. Biden said inflation is down 40% since the summer, and it's come down in the last 9 months in a row. We have work to do, but we're trending in the right direction. That is basically Joe Biden's way of telling you that inflation is going to come in better than expected. And inflation actually did come in better than expected. The market expectations were 5%, and we got 4.9%. And that's why we're currently getting a little bit of a rally in Bitcoin. As you can see, we were at risk of this head and shoulders playing out and breaking down to downside. And that would have got us below 24,000, but it's now a green candle up. And you know, when these green candles up come, I like to put onto the 1 hour chart just so you can see the effect of the candle. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about why the Democrats want to kill crypto. Now, I've been thinking long and hard as to whether I want to do the show, because I know that when you talk about the Democrats and the Republicans, it's very polarizing, especially in the United States. But we've got to call a spade a spade. I'm not aligned to any political party, but we have to call a spade and look at why the Democrats actually want to kill crypto. So it's going to be a big show. I've also got a suggestion for you as to 1 or 2 altcoins that I'm probably going to buy. We'll decide together. So listen, it's going to be a great show. If you've just woken up, get out. Wakey, rise and shine. It's a green day on the markets. Stay tuned. Tomorrow I'm going to give you some great news about crypto bubbles. I don't want to say too much, but there will be news tomorrow about crypto bubbles. These green bubbles tomorrow are going to take a whole new meaning. I promise you that. It is a green day on the markets, and that is because we got better than expected CPI numbers. We're going to dig into those CPI numbers. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why the Democrats hate crypto. And again, I said I'm not aligned to any political party, but I've got to call a spade a spade. And the Democrats do hate crypto. The Democrats do want to kill crypto in the United States. And we've got to understand why that's happening. We're then going to talk about a couple of altcoins that I think might be worth buying. We're going to talk about Bitcoin Ordinals, whether you should be buying them. And then I've got some other big news for you. So going to be another big, fun show. I love the shows on days when the markets are going up. And boy, oh boy, the market's going up. So let's quickly look at where I am in the trading competition. Here are my positions. I'm short 𝗕𝗗𝗄. I'm long BSV. I'm long BCH. And I'm long Arbitrum. And right now I am 25th in the competition with 99%. I was 15th a few minutes ago. The reason why I'm not 15th anymore is because BCH and BSV have come down because Bitcoin's gone up. So people are using them as a hedge against the problems that are happening at Bitcoin. And so they're saying, look, just in case something goes wrong at Bitcoin, or just in case these ordinals slow down the network, I want a plan B. And that's why I took a little bit of a position on both BCH and BSV. But because Bitcoin went up, then people have now voted against that. So I'm still holding my positions. So listen, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe to our channel. We're growing every single day thanks to you guys. And if you're a veteran, if you've been here for a while, smash the like button. I've got some great news for you, by the way. If you want to join the trading competition, so even if you just join the trading competition, new users only, if you just join the trading competition, no need to trade, just go to ByBit, open an account, put in $250 and just register on the trading competition with the link below, you get $50. Put in 250, get $50. Best return you'll make. You don't even have to take one single trade. New users only. So go and do it. That's a limited time off. I think it's open for today and tomorrow only. Sign up. You get $50 for free just for signing up and for putting in $250. Also remember, if you want to join us at Bitcoin Miami, there are 1 or 2 tickets left. the price of tickets is actually going up in, let's just see when the price of tickets going up, because it is definitely going up. Okay, well, it is going up. Just put in, when you register, just put in the code CryptoBanter, okay? Because if you don't get the tickets to the dinner with myself, Miles, Kyle, Sheldon, etc., etc. And then before we get into the alpha, I've got to be very, 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 very clear here. So there is a token which I want to show you. It's called Run. It's a meme coin. It's called Run. Someone made a meme coin called Run. I must be very clear with you guys. I'm not involved in any meme coin. I'm not promoting any meme coins. I don't take money to promote meme coins. I'm never going to create, or for as long as I can see into the future, I'm not going to create any meme coins. And to be honest, I have an issue with any influencers that are actually promoting meme coins, because they know that the coins have no value and they are inevitably pumping their own bags. And eventually, when these things get momentum, they're going to dump on their communities. And I don't want to be there. I don't want to play that game. That's not how we operate here at Banter. It's not something that I want to do. And so if you do see this meme coin called Run or Run Noina or whatever it's called, it has nothing to do with me. And if you do see your favorite influencers or your ex-favorite influencers promoting tokens, just bear in mind that these tokens are meme coins, and that if you buy them, you are going to be the exit liquidity. So listen, on that note, let's start the alpha. It's just very hot in here. We don't have any electricity, so I'm going to do a bit of a strip show. It's hot, man. We don't have any electricity in here. There's no aircon here.
It's the right music.
It's the right music. Yeah, we can take off our shirt and we can go to the rave music. By the way, for those of you who are monitoring my fitness journey, I will post pictures on Twitter. I'm down now in this diet 4.5 kilos since I started a month ago. I'm now weighing 67. I was weighing 71.5. I'm weighing 67 now. So I'll post some pictures just so you can see what it looks like. All right, let's go. Let's get into the alpha. Enough about weight loss. That's a different journey that we're on. Here we are on Bitcoin. 28,155. There is a pump. That means my Pepe position could actually go negative, because these guys are going to follow the Bitcoin run. Good. Why are we getting this pump? Because CPI. So CPI came in better than expected. We expected 5%. I warned you guys that if we got 5%, it wouldn't have been good. And if we got 5.2% or 5.1%, it would have been really bad. We got 4.9%, which was 0.1% better than the market actually anticipated. The month-on-month CPI, 0.4%. This actually puts the CPI for the last 8 or 9 months at 4%. So I reckon by December, we'll be down to about 3.5%. We got our regular warning from Joe Biden. Now, you kind of know now that if Joe Biden comes out before a CPI number, the CPI number is either going to be much better or much worse than expected, depending on the tone of his tweet. This tone last night, well, for me, it was very early in the morning. When I woke up this morning, I said, okay, I know we're going to have a good CPI. That's why I went and took some long positions, some short positions. Let's just see where the CPI, what the CPI breakdown was. You can see the biggest changes was gas, fuel, and used cars. Scam. Why scam? Because the US is reducing their oil reserve. The reason why oil is coming down is not because the oil price is coming down. The reason why the oil price is coming down is because the US is depleting their reserve. So don't fall for that. JP Morgan, they came out last night. They said, look, if we get between 4.7 and 4.9%, they think the markets will go up by 1 to 1.25%. Let's see if JP Morgan's right. Let's quickly look at the markets. The Dow Jones up 0.5%, so there or thereabout. The US 500, 0.72, and the NASDAQ, 0.75. So not much of a response from the market. Also, not much of a response from the DXY. The DXY is 101.43. What this means is that the market anticipated that, and that the probability of rate hikes coming up soon is going to remain more or less the same. So let's quickly just look at what 86.9% for no rate hike, 13.1% for rate hike. And let's look at the probabilities of rate decreases. So the market is still forecasting 3 rate cuts this year. That is the story as far as CPI goes. We said today CPI would be a big story. We also said yesterday the next big story, which they were trying to make a big story, was the debt ceiling. So remember that yesterday we spoke about the debt ceiling, and we spoke about the fact that Yellen was the new tool that they were using to create the campaign to make the other party look bad, the Republicans look bad, when it comes to the debt ceiling. And we left yesterday's show on this note. We left yesterday's show on the note where we said Biden is going to meet with congressional leaders on the debt ceiling yesterday at 4 p.m. EST. So I phoned Biden earlier today and I said, look, buddy, how was your meeting yesterday? I said, hey, bro, how's it going? And he said, hi, cool, and you? I said, how was your meeting yesterday with the congressional leaders to discuss the debt ceiling? Because I'm sitting here and I'm panicking about the fact that the US may default on its debt for the first time in history under the Joe Biden regime. I'm panicking about it. I literally don't get any sleep at night because I'm so worried that the US is going to default on their debt. And so he said, look, I'll send you a video. And he sent me a video. You guys should watch this video. This is the feedback. The title on this video, he said, earlier today I met with congressional leaders about preventing the first ever government default. Here is how the meeting went.
We just had a meeting with the congressional leadership. If they don't pass the bill to prevent default, it would be disastrous. We'll have a recession, international crisis across the board. We've always paid. I asked him to lay down his budget. I laid out my budget. Let's compare our budgets and negotiate. And so this idea...
Quite funny, like, I asked him to lay out his, he asked me to lay out mine, and then let's compare and negotiate.
And I'm willing to talk is not true. All I'm trying to do is get him to say, what is it that you are going to spend and what are you going to spend it on and what are you going to have to cut? I laid out my spending proposal on March the 9th. We don't raise taxes on anybody making less than $400,000 a year. We provide for health insurance and a whole range of things that people need very badly without having to eviscerate the things we really need to do to keep our nation safe. Based on the totality of their cuts, we see no way they can reach those cuts without cutting literally several thousand police officers, FBI agents, DEA agents, federal officers. It's almost impossible to do it without cutting them. Look, let me conclude by saying we should talk about the debt. We should talk about how we pay for it. We should talk about what we're going to spend the money on. We should talk about who pays what taxes. We should not be talking about defaulting on our debt. That's never been done. That cannot happen in America.
You see, so what they're doing is they're using the other party to almost strengthen their case. Instead of talking about, look, bro, you got to get this through, they are trying to smear the other party, show how bad the other party is. And as I said to you, I mean, if you're having sleepless nights like I am about the US debt ceiling, well, have no more sleepless nights because it's always going to resolve itself. It's always going to resolve itself. Anyway, that brings me on to the next topic. The next topic is one, again, which I question whether I should actually even do. Because I know that, you know, when you talk about Democrats and Republicans, it's polarizing and people have ridiculous loyalties to political parties. And sometimes those loyalties are right, but sometimes they're absolutely ridiculous. And so the one thing that is pretty evident to me is that the Democrats are trying their hardest to kill crypto in the United States. They have some kind of issue, stigma around crypto. And I understand why, and we'll talk about the whys in a few seconds. But I think the first thing we need to do is we need to understand that the Democrats want to kill crypto. Now, if you agree with me on that statement, do me a favor, smash the like button because I really want to see it. And if you don't agree with me, let me know in the comments. But I think we need to get into I want to try and get a bit of a vote going. So comments if you don't agree with me, like if you do agree with me. Let's decide after this clip whether we think that the Democrats are really after killing crypto in the United States. Now, again, I say I didn't want to do this clip because I know it's polarizing, but I think we got to call a spade, and we got to look at the facts. And the reason why I got so irritated was because of this tweet over here. Again, Joe Biden last night tweeting like a crazy person. First tweeting that nonsense about the debt ceiling, and now he says we don't have to guess what the MAGA House Republicans value. They're telling us we think Congress should cut tax loopholes that help wealthy crypto investors versus MAGA Republicans that think we should cut food safety inspections. So what's the issue here? You can see that what they're doing is they're using crypto investors and they're starting to target these crypto investors by labeling them as wealthy, as tax evaders, as billionaires. It's almost like they hate the fact that crypto investors have made so much money. Now, the reality is that when you question this tax loophole, which is exactly what Adam Cochran did, there is no tax loophole. In fact, if anything, it's the other way around. There is absolutely no tax loophole that could bring $18 billion into the US tax net. It says there's actually no tax crypto loophole that is exempting 18 billion. Crypto actually suffers compared to other assets on how gains are taxed on transfers between asset types. I challenge absolutely anyone to cite this supposed loophole. That's because there is no loophole. That is for sure. But what they've done is they've started to label crypto as this stigma because the crypto people are too rich. And they're going to start campaigning using crypto people. Why should the rich get richer? Why should the crypto people who actually took a chance on financial freedom, why should they get any benefits? The Democrats don't like that. Elizabeth Warren, obviously far left, she says, it's no wonder the American people are skeptical of a system that holds millions of struggling student loan borrowers in limbo, but steps in overnight to ensure that billion-dollar crypto firms won't even lose a dime in deposits. And she's referring to the Silicon Valley bank collapse. You can see again, they're starting to create this stigma, almost like saying crypto people are too rich. And we should penalize these crypto people for being too rich. Congressman Brad Sherman, he says, 60 years ago, the late, great Rob F. Kennedy went after tax evaders as a U.S. Attorney General. Today, his son is slated to speak at a conference for tax evaders. So now they're calling crypto people tax evaders. Now, of course, there are some crypto people who are tax evaders. Now, I want to understand something. I need to understand when the position of the United States changed. Because about a year ago, in March last year, March 9th, 2022, President Biden published an executive order ensuring responsible development in Bitcoin assets. Now, in this responsible development of Bitcoin assets, he says the rise in digital assets creates an opportunity to reinforce American leadership in the global financial system and at the technological frontier, but also has substantial implications for customer protections, financial stability, and national security risks. The United States must maintain technological leadership in this rapidly growing space, supporting innovation while mitigating the risks for consumers, businesses, and the broader financial system and the climate. And it must play a leading role in international engagement and global governance of digital assets consistent with the democratic values and US global competitiveness. That was just over a year ago. Now, of course, it's been a very turbulent year. We've had Luna collapse. We've had FTX, who was a big donor to the Democrats, donated over $5 million to the Democrats, and he collapsed and took down a whole lot of Americans and a whole lot of other businesses with him. But I need to try and understand when their positions changed. And it's not only these guys. I'll show you a couple of the tools that they're using. We spoke about Brad Sherman, we spoke about Elizabeth Warren, but let's take a deeper dive. The sharpest and hardest tool that these guys are using is the Gary Gensler tool. Now, Gary Gensler is a well-known Democrat. He's an investor, a public official, and a Democratic Party activist, okay? And he has been selected by Joe Biden himself to run the SEC. Now, here's the irony here. Gary Gensler, before he was at the SEC, actually created a MIT level course on crypto. And as I've said to you guys many times before, I don't believe that anybody can create a course, anybody can create an MIT level course, anybody can have the passion to create an MIT level course and about a topic that they hate. Just think about yourself. Could you create an MIT level course of around a topic that you're not passionate about? Absolutely fucking not. It's impossible. In his course, just by the way, in his course, he spoke about Ethereum and he assured us in his course, not so long ago, in fact, this was 3 years ago, that Ethereum wasn't a security.
Ethereum, when it was first promoted in 2014, I believe, passed this test. And the word pass means that you are a security. Just a little vocabulary thing. You want to fail the Howey test, by the way. Like if you are a venture capitalist and don't want to be regulated, you want to fail this test. But to pass the Howey test, Ethereum in 2014 exchanged Bitcoin for ETH. It was an investment in a common enterprise at that point in time, a 20 or 21-year-old 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 running a Ethereum Foundation out of Switzerland. It was one group. An expectation of profits. They had no functioning network. It was just an idea.
So initially it was a security.
Really
No doubt it was.
And good faith actors. And it was reliant on whether Vitalik and his, team of coders were going to stand this project up. To me, I don't even think there's much doubt what this was in 2014 when they raised the $18 million. Now, it was the largest ICO done at the time. There hadn't been anything of its size at $18 million. And our U.S. Securities Agency and others around the globe really weren't looking and watching until the Dow happened in 2016 and raised 160 or so million. And then that sort of caught the attention. So regulators start to wake up.
So he in his course in 3 years ago, he said it wasn't a security. But then when he was prompted again by Representative Henry, this is what he said.
Cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in
I'm asking about one.
The public is anticipating a profit based on the...
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of
individuals... I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting
he can't even answer the question, and this is a couple of days later. Also in his MIT course, he spoke about Algorand. Listen to what he said about Algorand.
Governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT.
And as soon as he comes into the SEC,
Sylvia's got a great technology.
when he sues Bittrex, he lands up calling Algorand a security and effectively tries to shut the whole thing down. So he is adamant that he's trying to make everything a security. And he published this crazy video, which I'm sure we've seen, but let's just listen to the beginning because I just think it's so stupid and so funny. And every time I look at it, I just think that he looks and sounds like Pepe the Frog actually talking.
What do the securities laws have to do with
Goldfish?
Many places around the country, we're required to use a leash when you walk your dog. But let's just say you get stopped because you're walking Rover unleashed. What do you think would happen if you told the police officer that Rover is actually a goldfish? You'd still get a citation, and that's because the law cares about what something actually is, not what you call it.
And he's going down the whole road that everything in the whole world is actually a security. And I don't think it's actually him. I think it's a coordinated effort by the Democrats to push everything into one place so that when they get to one place, if you want to squash them or kill them, you can kill them with one strike. Now, right now, when they're all regulated in different places, it's very difficult for the regulators to strike them in one place and to end them or to control them. But if they move them all under one place, that is where they could strike and where they could kill them. Now, where did I get this idea from? When I listened to Senator Brad Sherman talk yesterday. Now, listen, if you live in California and you appointed this guy, then you should go and get yourself checked. You should check yourself into an institution and ask yourself some very, very, very tough questions. Who the hell voted to appoint this guy? Whose representative actually is he?
Fear of missing out, that we've got to keep up with other countries. You know, Peru is way ahead of us in cocaine production. China's way ahead of us in organ harvesting. We don't need to keep up on those things, and we don't need to keep up on crypto. As for protecting,
he compares crypto to organ harvesting and cocaine farming. This is like one of the best technologies ever created. One of the technologies that's going to transform money in the financial system. What are they doing? They're comparing it to organ harvesting in China.
Investors know, and they certainly know now, that when you send your money to the Bahamas or Cayman Islands, you do not have protection. You could lose it all. And the idea that we should tell investors that something's licensed in the United States when it's not only as dangerous for the investors as crypto is, but as harmful to our country as crypto tries to be, I don't see a reason to do that.
Okay, but there still is within the subcommittee that you sit on an effort to set some kind of guardrails, regulatory boundaries here. I know that there will be a hearing tomorrow with the digital asset subcommittees of both the Financial Services Committee as well as the Agriculture Committee.
So listen to this. This is the part where he tries to force everything into the SEC, into the one place where they could strike crypto.
In the House. Really what that comes down to is SEC versus CFTC jurisdiction. I know where you come down on that. You'd like to see more control with the SEC, but I thought we were all agreed that Bitcoin isn't a security.
No one is convinced of that. I think the vast majority...
Gary Gensler has said that.
Gary has said that the vast majority of tokens are securities.
And he's even trying to put Bitcoin as a security.
Once... if they want to know what the rules are, fine. All they have to do is come to Congress and say, please make us a security, and we will do that. Instead, Sam Bankman-Fried was here doing a host of illegal things for one purpose, and that was to keep the SEC out of crypto. We should not trash Sam Bankman-Fried on the one hand and then pass his bill on the other hand.
You say that they should come to Congress to set the rules here, but that has proven quite difficult to do, Congressman. Are you optimistic that we will actually see legislation make its way through your committee and then through its counterpart in the Senate as well? What would that be? We hear often it's stablecoins that are the lowest hanging fruit.
I'm optimistic that if this industry wants real regulation, they can get it. But they don't. And they will do everything possible, including everything Sam Bankman-Fried was doing, to stop us from having real regulation of crypto and to prevent the Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering statutes from being effectively applied to the entire ecosystem. So they're here not because they want clarity, but because they want only a patina of regulation. And they're here to fight the clarity that we would have if we simply passed a law saying all crypto is a security. We could have that kind of clarity immediately. But the industry has a lot of money and power, and there's no money and power on the other side. There's no PAC or lobbyist fighting for Know Your Customer, fighting against
everything in his mind should be a security. And you see, this is why I'm starting to think that what their game plan is here. Their game plan is to put everything into one box, and that is where they can regulate it, and they can regulate it under Gary Gensler, who, as I've said before, doesn't seem to be acting in his what he thinks, but actually he's a puppet for somebody else. Now, they keep saying that if the crypto wants regulation, let them come to Congress, let them come to the SEC. But what we know is that when they do go to the SEC refuses to meet them, doesn't give them real answers. Brian Armstrong has showed us that many, many, many times. You'll remember that when Gary Gensler was taking on Kraken and deemed their staking service to be a unregistered security, and when he was challenged about this is what he said.
Clearly very focused on investor protection. 330 million Americans are our clients. These firms, Kraken knew how to register, others know how to register. It's just a form on our website. They can come in, talk to our talented people and disclosure review teams. And if they want to offer staking, we're neutral. Come in, register, because investors need that disclosure. What are you doing with the tokens? Are you trading against the tokens? Are you borrowing against the token? Are you using them?
We know that that's garbage. And Jesse Powell said the same. He said, oh man, if all I had to do was fill in a form on a website and tell people that staking rewards come from staking, I wish I'd seen this video before paying a $30 million fine and agreeing to permanently shut down the service in the United States. How dumb do I look? Gosh. Now, we know that it is impossible for crypto people to get this clarity from the SEC, and it's even impossible to register, and that comes from inside the SEC. Commissioner 𝗕𝗏𝗏 actually wrote a public dissent about this, and in this public dissent, she says, there is no way for crypto, we all know that there is no way for crypto companies to actually come register, and yet you talk about that. So they are using Brad Sherman, they are using Gary Gensler, they are using Janet Yellen, and then, of course, they're using the extreme tool, and that is Senator Warren. So Senator Warren actually runs a campaign against building an anti-crypto army. She's like positioned herself as building an anti-crypto army because she doesn't like it when people make money. She doesn't like it when people make money, except, of course, her. Because she has a net worth of $12 million according to Forbes. So according to Forbes, she has a net worth, you can't really see it, I don't know why. Let me refresh it. Maybe it's one of these ad blockers or whatever else. She has a 12 million. 3 years ago, she had a fortune which was valued at over $12 million. Now we know she's probably made money on it. And she's like her friend, Gary Gensler, who also has $119 million or as much as $119 million in 2021, probably worth a lot more now. These are the same people that don't want you to have opportunities of financial freedom. They want you to be controlled. They want to create a control around. Someone says lots of sponsors dropped here. Dropped her. Yeah, I thought you were going to say lots of sponsors are going to drop us for exposing Democrats. And if it is what it is. Because I'm going to say it the way it is. I've always said it the way it is, and I'm going to continue to say it the way it is. And if you don't like it, then maybe this channel is not for you. So you have her and Gary Gensler worth millions and millions of dollars, but they don't want people to make money. In fact, we know that Bitcoin is the best performing asset in the last couple of years. And when Fidelity proposed, or not proposed, but actually implemented that Americans could put Bitcoin into their 401ks, which is essentially their retirement plans, she went out and tried to rally support. She wrote, "We write to inquire about the appropriateness of your company's decision to add Bitcoin to its 401k investment plan menu and the actions you will take to address the significant risks of fraud, theft, and loss posed by these assets." There's no significant risk of fraud, theft, and loss of Bitcoin. This is not a shitcoin. This is Bitcoin. You can order the contract, you can order the software. But she went out and published that. Why? Because she does not want Americans to become financially free. It's become clear that this is the agenda. They want to control you. They want to make sure you don't make a lot of money. Because if they hold the money, if they introduce a CBDC and they can decide what you can and can't spend on, and whether if you behave, you get extra credits, and if you don't behave, you don't get extra credits, that is the control that they want. Another thing is, it should come as no surprise to any of us that in this banking collapse, the 3 of the 4 banks that have collapsed were the crypto banks. You had Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank, and Silvergate Bank all collapsed. Out of the 4 banks that have collapsed in this banking crisis, 3 of them were the crypto on-ramps and off-ramps. That's not a coincidence, guys. Come on. That is not a coincidence. Specifically because Signature Bank actually probably wasn't insolvent. It was just taken over on a technicality over a weekend and handed over to JP Morgan, or one of the big banks. Also, you had Elizabeth Warren cause effectively, or be one of the causes for the bank run, which caused Silvergate Bank to collapse. Because when a regulator starts to tweet about how unethical a bank is, that is, of course, going to cause a bank run. So, guys, to me, it's clear that the Democrats hate crypto. They hate the fact that people are getting into financial freedom. They've labeled us as wealthy investors that are tax evaders, and they have completely ignored the technology. This is just a year after the executive bill that Joe Biden published. And the result is that it's having big implications in the United States. And I've said before, Americans deserve better, but let's look at some of the implications that it's having. The SEC took on Bittrex. Bittrex shut down in the United States. Still operating internationally like a great exchange, but decided to shut down its US operations and leave a whole lot of Americans in a bankruptcy process to try and get their money back. The SEC hasn't done one thing to prevent Celsius, Voyager, and the FTX collapse. Where were they before all of them? They were nowhere to be found. Coinbase, which is the blue-eyed boy, the darling child of crypto in the United States, a company that has been following all of the laws better than any other company, has now started an international exchange and is on a roadshow in the UAE to see if they could relocate, talking to all the regulators and all the legislators. We also had another casualty last night. 2 of America's big market makers. This is very important because it could actually affect your bags. I'm going to show you how it could affect your bags. Jane Street, which by the way I think is where Sam Bankman-Fried used to work, and Jump have pulled back on their crypto trading over US regulatory uncertainty. This is big news because Jane Street and Jump were the biggest market makers in the United States. In fact, I want to just show you a little visual about the order books before Jane Street and Jump and after Jane Street and Jump, because they were the market makers in the market. They were the biggest market makers in the market. Now, they have pulled out of their market making in the United States. They are still investing in crypto. However, Jane Street has actually come out and said, look, we're scaling down our crypto operations in a big way. Jump has said, this is the line that you have to read, and it says, Jump Crypto, the digital asset unit of Jump Trading, is pulling back from the US market for the same reason, though it's expanding internationally, two people familiar with the matter said. Both firms are still making markets on a smaller scale and not abandoning crypto entirely. What are they doing? They are getting out of the United States. These are two of the biggest market makers. Who suffers when the market makers leave the United States? The people of the United States, because they don't have liquidity. Because the liquidity in the United States goes from this picture over here to this picture over here. That's the liquidity breadth. Who suffers when that happens? The people of the United States. So it is clear to me, it is clear to me, and I think it should be clear to you, that the Democrats want to kill crypto. And I think that what's going to happen is crypto is going to become an election issue. You can see by Joe Biden's tweet that what he's done is he said, the Republicans, he's opened the door to the Republicans by saying, the Republicans, we want to close a loophole that taxes wealthy investors, and the Republicans want to end food safety inspections. There's a door open here. And I think that what's going to happen is that the Republicans are going to grab this and they're going to say, we want the crypto bros. We want those guys. And you can see already that you've got DeSantis.
I think what the danger of the digital currency is that, one, they want to make that the sole currency. They want to get rid of crypto, which my view is like, if you want to invest in crypto, it's up to you. You can do it. I mean, like, you can make those decisions. But they don't like crypto because they can't control crypto. So they want to put everything in a central bank digital currency. And I guarantee you, if they're able to ever get away with that, they will impose ESG and social credit scores onto that. And that's going to be a huge reduction in freedom for people in this country. And so what we've said, what we're going to say in Florida is they haven't done it yet. I don't think Congress would authorize it. But if the Fed or the Treasury tries to do it unilaterally in Florida, we'll have a prohibition. Again,
that's DeSantis. And then you got Senator Ted Cruz.
Bullish on Bitcoin specifically, crypto more broadly, but Bitcoin in particular. I think Bitcoin is clearly the alpha in the crypto sphere, both in terms of coming first and also being clearly the most dominant. I think the analogy of digital gold is powerful. And the insight that led to its creation is still extraordinary.
So you can see there's two different sides of the scale here. You got the Dems on the one side who want to kill crypto. You got the Republicans who are saying, hey, people want to invest in crypto. Let them invest in crypto. Loomis, Senator Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis versus Biden, Sherman, and Elizabeth Warren. Pick your fighters. Now, again, I said, I don't want to get politically involved here, but I've got to call a spade a spade. And I know that there are a lot of people who would be scared to say it. I'm not scared to say it because I speak my mind. And I know that as a result, this video is probably going to get a lot of hate. And I know that as a result, probably it's going to get shadow banned on YouTube because we know who controls YouTube, the same people that controlled the vaccine and the vaccine mandate and the fact that you couldn't talk about that disease that I'm not going to mention because that will just make... But we've got to call a spade a spade. I'm going to take the Tucker Carlson approach. You know me. You've known me for a long time. I'm always going to say it as it is. And this time is no different. Tucker Carlson said the same thing yesterday, and I think we're going to follow him on his mission. We are also going to move to Twitter because on Twitter, there's no real shadow ban that can happen. Here on YouTube, there's always these shadow bans. Every time I talk about something that some people don't like, I get shadow banned. I'm tired of getting shadow banned. I'm tired of having to filter my words. I'm tired of having to worry what I talk about and who I'm upsetting on the other side, just in case my video gets shadow banned. I'm tired of it. And that's why we're going to follow the same lead as Tucker does. Now, obviously, Tucker is much bigger than us and much stronger than us, but he's moving to Twitter. we are going to move to Twitter when Twitter starts to broadcast.
Hey, it's
and
Tucker
you're going to
Carlson.
move with us.
You often hear people say the news is full of lies, but most of the time that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true.
I was at CNBC. I launched the world's first televised crypto show, which was aired on CNBC. I can confirm that everything that Tucker Carlson is saying is real.
It's not true. At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here.
We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start streaming our show to Twitter. In fact, it's already being streamed to Twitter, but via YouTube. And that means that YouTube still have control. Anyway, Elon Musk, just in case you thought that Elon Musk paid Tucker, he did not pay Tucker. He said, I want to be clear, I've not signed any deal of any kind with Tucker. Tucker is subject to the same rules and rewards of all content creators. Rewards means subscriptions and advertising revenue share, which is a function of how many people subscribe to the advertising, etc. So this is huge. And another person that subscribes to it is Patrick Bet-David. And by the way, next week, I'm actually going to be on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. So I'm flying to Miami and I'm going to go and be on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, going back to it. So Jump Capital leaving market making in the United States. You got to be careful if you're holding any of these tokens because Jump Capital are the market makers for these. So SHIB, Matic, Lido, AVAX. Look at these tokens because Jump Capital may have already started to sell, but is selling a lot of these tokens that they're market making. So if you hear of any tokens that Jump Capital is market making for, I think you need to keep your eyes open and just make sure that oh, hold on a second. I see Bitcoin is pumping. Bitcoin will be pump. Bitcoin will be pump. See, Bitcoin's 22.3, but you see now, as a result, BSV and Bitcoin Cash have gone down. So I think now my position in the competition, I'm back at 31 in the competition. You can still enter the competition, guys. By the way, there are still 220 spaces left. If you do sign up, as I said, you do get $50 for free if you're a new account. So if you're a new account, you do get $50 for free. All right, let's talk about some other things. Altcoins, etc. Let's quickly look at the altcoin map before we get into altcoins. So you have everything pretty much green. The ones that fell the most are the ones that are rising the most. Arbitrum back at $1.18. Render back at $1.87, Injective 670. Luna, I don't know why Luna went up one day after the 1 year anniversary of it. We've been talking a lot about Bitcoin ordinals. We've been covering a lot about how it is, and I think it's super important, and we've been big fans of Bitcoin ordinals. Last night, Michael Saylor was on the Patrick Bet David podcast, and he was asked what he thinks of ordinals. Listen to what he said.
So I think that what happened with ordinals and NFTs is we crossed this chasm from what was a bearish scenario to a bullish scenario. If I was a miner, I would be ecstatic.
Because now all of a sudden the miners are making more transaction revenue. So we've gone from a bearish chasm to a bullish chasm. And then when he was asked about a use case, even though we have been talking about Bitcoin ordinals as NFTs and as meme coins, he actually spoke about some real life use cases, which are actually very, very valuable.
What you have is a lot of speculation, and you also have a migration of crypto development energy from the other cryptos to Bitcoin. That's a good thing, I think. It's inevitable because Bitcoin is the low risk crypto network and the high security crypto network. So you're going to see speculation move. You're going to see development move, but long term, what's really significant here is that people are going to see Bitcoin as the most secure cyber network or the most secure computer network in the world.
And he spoke about things like, for example, putting your last will and testament on the blockchain, in the Bitcoin blockchain. Would you pay $100 to do that? Of course you would. To make it your last will and testament in an immutable way. Same thing for corporates who take corporate decisions and they want to put them on the blockchain so that people can see what decision they took hundreds of years from now. Well, put them on the blockchain, pay $100, and it's definitely worth it. Alrighty. So that's Michael Saylor on ordinals. We're super bullish on ordinals. I actually tweeted last night and I said, ordinals have made me more bullish about Bitcoin than I've been about Bitcoin for a long time, because I'm finally seeing innovation in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, I love innovation. And I went to altcoins because I didn't see as much innovation in Bitcoin. And now I'm starting to see the same innovation in Bitcoin, which is, for me, it's super exciting. At the same time, the Bitcoin devs are trying to kill it. So there was a proposal, not even a proposal, but like a message by the Bitcoin devs saying, I think everyone on this list knows what happened to Bitcoin mempool during the 96 hours due to side projects such as BRC20 having such high volume. Real Bitcoin transactions are priced out, and that is what it is causing the massive congestion that has been arguable, not seen since December 2017. I do not count the March 2021 congestion because it was worse once at. And he's asking them to enforce this censorship at a node level. Now, these are the same Bitcoin maximalists that believe in non-censorable when it suits them. But now when it doesn't suit them, they want to rally people to censor Bitcoin transactions. And the truth is, they don't even need a vote to do this. They can actually just do it because this is not a real software upgrade. It's basically just a patch. So, I think disgusting behavior by the Bitcoin devs, but so be it. I see this stuff going on in the show group. People are saying that there's stuff going on here. AMM protocol, let's go. We spoke about it. Look at this. Look at this. Breaking news. The UAE, it's big. The UAE's Royal Group has built a short position worth billions of dollars in US stocks. People familiar with the matter says Royal Group has shifted more of its portfolio into US short-term treasuries and is investing in more commodities and crypto. That is huge. I mean, this is one of the biggest investors in the world, investing in crypto and going short US because the US has become their own worst enemy. I'm not making friends here today, that's for sure. I want to talk to you about DEX tools. So a lot of people use DEX tools. We've been using DEX tools quite a bit. It's this tool over here, which basically monitors all the tokens that are on the DEXs. So if you want to find out, for example, how 𝗵𝗑 is trading or Mong or any of these meme coins, you can use DEX tools to understand the trading on all the DEXs and to see the market cap and so on and so forth. Actually, one that I was actually looking at is 𝗔𝗏. I hate talking like this, but I was watching it at one point. So it's a great tool. I must say, it really, really, really is a great tool. But there's something more about this tool that maybe we should explore. The first thing is, what you can see is that all these meme coins that have actually been created on the ERC20 standard, all these like meme coins, and these meme coins aren't really listed on major exchanges, or it takes them a long time to get listed on major exchanges. So where are they actually listed? They're listed on DEX tools. And in order to list the token on DEX tools, the team needs to have DEX tools tokens. And if you want to pay for your subscription on DEX tools, you need to have DEX tools tokens. And so I took a bit of a deep dive into this token. I'm not yet convinced that I'm going to start buying it, but I think it's worth talking about. So you have this DEX tool token. The fully diluted market cap of DEX tools is about $70 million. It's now $63 million. It has gone up a hell of a lot. It's gone up about 5x this year. And since the meme coin run started, it's gone up from, I mean, you can argue that the meme coin run started here at 25 cents, and now it's at 63 cents. So I'm not buying this token just yet because I don't buy any charts that are parabolic, but I am keeping my eyes on this, okay? So I am keeping my eyes. You've got, I think it's an interesting tool with interesting token use cases. As I say, I'm not buying it yet. Don't buy it now, but just keep it on the radar. And if we do get a dip and you do think that we're going to have a meme coin season again, then look at buying it. It is, I mean, a $70 million fully diluted is something very interesting. What else is there? I mean, I did want to talk about this. A lot of people are knocking Suzu and Kyle about the OpenX exchange. They are hitting new all-time highs in terms of volume. The volume's not significant yet, but I mean, worth noting that these guys are just growing and growing. And I'm saying again, don't fade two smart entrepreneurs that have a point to prove to the world and have money to repay to people that they owe money to. So don't do that. I think that's it for today. I do just want to, let's just look at how I'm doing in the competition. Okay, my two positions are taking a bit of a knock, still coming 29th in the competition. I do just want to give a big shout out to one of our sponsors, CryptoTaxAudit. They sponsored our consensus coverage, and they actually sponsored it because I went to them and I said, listen, I actually love what you guys are doing. So listen, if you're American and you live in that hellhole that's run by the Democrats at the moment, who are trying to kill crypto, rest assured the IRS are going to come for you at some point. Because that's the next part of Operation Choke Point is to go for the taxes. Now, if you need help with your crypto taxes, CryptoTaxAudit is the right people to go to. But more importantly, they have a audit protection plan for crypto investors, which basically what this audit protection plan does is it protects you in case you get audited by the IRS. What this plan will do is actually protect you, and it will get these guys to represent you for free. So if you pay the insurance, if you do get attacked by the IRS, these guys will protect you for absolute free. So go and check them out, CryptoTaxAudit. There is a link below. Go and give them some love because they do support our shows. And yeah, I'm gonna just say again, if I've offended you today, I'm not sorry at all, because I'm gonna speak my mind. And I don't have any political affiliations. I couldn't give a shit whether it was Democrats, Republicans, or even independents. I couldn't give a shit. What I care about is making sure that how we see it from the outside looking in, you guys are completely aware of it. If you can't see what the Democrats are doing to crypto, okay, if you can't see what the damage that the US is doing to the crypto ecosystem under the guise of investment protection, you guys are absolutely blind. So if I've offended you, I just want to say that I'm truly not sorry. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.